syndrome is real. I keep saying that J.K. Rowling, controversies aside, studied English literature and the classics, I believe. I did not. This, again, is a children's chapter book that came completely through a vision. I didn't set out to be a quote-unquote author or to publish books or to sell books. This came purely through a vision that 10 years ago this was written. And it's come out at a time when I am going through an incredible transformation, what I'm calling the back nine mindset. I'm 55 and we've gone through, especially in the international TV, film and television broadcasting industry, the last couple of years have been an absolute nightmare. So, learning to go through this transformation, this metamorphosis with grace and some kind of belief and knowing that there is something good in all of it. That's the message. And so this has come out at a time that is perfect for me. I'm plugging the heck out of it because I see great value in sharing this vision. You're not going to sit down and read it to your kids. There's no pictures in it. I chose not to illustrate it for a few reasons. My dream is to partner with a studio like Ludo Studios or some other Skydance Animation to get a good solid partner to option the IP to turn this into an animated series, movie, franchise. It's extremely visual. When you read the book, it's very visual. So the narrative is there and the metaphor is there, and I think kids were just really warm to it. It's a wonderful story about believing in your dreams. I love the quote on the back: "We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already," from J.K. Rowling. So that was coming up big in the last few days because I've been, really kind of putting myself out there with this stuff. And, the idea of imposter syndrome and creativity and transformation and what else was coming up was something quite interesting. Obviously, RickRubin has been coming up a lot. Obviously, when you start looking at quotes and videos, then the algorithm keeps feeding you that stuff, which is great because it's what I've been thinking about a lot. It's what have I been doing during my 35 years of international film and TV production, which has been fantastic, by the way. Met some incredible people, worked with some incredible people, have great friends and work family throughout those years. But there's something that's come up about the quote-unquote soft skills. There's so many other. Check out the link too. You're supposed to do a call to action early on in your videos. I fail at all this stuff. I don't want to say that, but check it out. There's a link in the description somewhere. There's so many incredible craft skills that I have. I've had some incredible teachers: cinematography, lighting, sound, directing, producing, writing, interviewing. Lots of incredible craft skills that you should learn along the way. Cameras and equipment is so good these days that I think a lot of the craft skills may or may not be transferring. However, there's some incredible young practitioners out there in the film world. I will say that. But what I was thinking about today, and it's kind of fused in with what's been coming up for me about my creative practice, merging and fusing with my coaching, with this book, with how I'm showing up, how I show up on projects. I spent 30-something years building up the practical skills, the craft skills, cinematography, audio, all that stuff. But what I've realized, thinking about how do I add value to a project, to a client, is the soft skills that I've picked up along the way, which all makes sense now. I've been very fortunate the last few years to do some incredible projects. I think I mentioned them last time with a company called Shareability. Incredible people there, Joel and Tim and Eric and Nick and a whole bunch of people. And a couple of the projects that I did were they're online. The one was for Adobe Photoshop. It was in the aftermath of the Hurricane Harvey in Texas. And another one was after the fires in Paradise, again for Adobe. Now those projects were extremely challenging. I'm not saying that I'm the best director or the best producer or the best at anything. Far from it. What I do have to offer is an incredible amount of depth in where I come from, my story, my heart. I know what I bring to the table. And so in Paradise, for example, it was an extreme time. It was an extreme tragedy. There was a fire that wiped out a whole town. Brutal. And, prayers up for Los Angeles. We've had incredible destruction these last few weeks in January with the fires. And I was charged by my boss, my client, to get up and create a story in Paradise. Now that took an incredible amount of depth and soft skills that cannot be translated in a resume, really. Can almost not be translated during an interview either. It's hard to explain. All the long lifetime producers and people that have been doing this for a long time in the documentary space, that is, will understand. What I think I'm leading to is it takes a great understanding of your own integrity. So when I show up in these kind of situations after a hurricane, after a fire, where people have lost everything, what's showing up the most is my heart and my integrity. People need to trust you. You need to listen to their stories. Not only do they need to trust you, but you need to know yourself that you are a trustworthy, integrity-driven person, which I am. And that's been coming up a lot as I go through this process of talking about my book, doing these videos, talking to a few potential clients about what I can offer and how I can serve them, having wonderful conversations and lunches with my dear brother Alain Takam at Tuck Method on IG, about integrity and knowing who you are, and I think it's all of that is translating into just what's also coming up on YouTube as well. People showing up with authenticity and organic kind of presentation. I think that's very important. So going back to imposter syndrome, I am getting better at it because I know who I am and I know what I'm representing. And I think that's a big part of it. And that all comes full circle back to for me, a really dedicated and lovingly supported spiritual practice. Shout out to Reverend Cynthia Ambries. I'll try and put a link somewhere. She's a wonderful, my teacher, my practitioner, and part of the Agape, trained with Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith at Agape International, helping me understand that I'm showing up in that authentic way and following the truth of who I am. It's very important. All that coming back to creativity, spirituality, and this geezer named RickRubin who I guess in the music industry, mainstream music industry, was really revolutionary. He was the first one that I'm aware of in the last, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years maybe, however long he's been doing it for, that's really harnessed that intentional power of spiritual connection and brought that into a mainstream creative paradigm. So another thing that's been interesting is this idea of, I had a great phone call tonight with an incredible man named John Killick from Australia. Incredible story. I'll put a link for his book in the description as well. My good mate Hoffy, we had a meeting talking about this man's life and his journey and potential film project. What I realise is that there's a lot of people talking about storytelling. I come from the documentary non-scripted realm, and so I want to change that to I'm a story listener. We say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I was just thinking about that today, that I'm a story listener. I want to listen to people's stories now that I'm talking too much now, but and I think that's an important distinction. That's an incredible skill and an incredible quality that needs to be nurtured. There's enough wonderful humans out there doing great work, teaching storytelling. Maybe that's another focus to think about, of learning to be a great story listener. And that's a spiritual practice as well, because the more you listen, you get the voice of spirit, the universe, God, however you want to call that thing that I choose to call God. So believe it, the imposter syndrome can be debilitating, but somehow harness that energy, that spiritual connection, to just know that when your heart speaks to you, that is the truth, and to continue down that path. Surround yourself, align yourself with wonderful support. My family, Agape International Spiritual Center, Reverend Cynthia Ambries, TAC Method, Elaine Takam, individuals and friends, Hoffy, that just remind you that what you are doing is on the right path. And that's been a big thing for me lately, doing this, because you're really putting yourself out there. I will encourage everyone to take action. This is not perfect. I know that. But I took action. That's the most important thing. This is 10 years in the making. It was a long time to take action, but I did it. And it's critical. I spent too long pontificating on whether I would publish this or not. But I did it. That was a big thing for me. Really big thing for me. So pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a hug. Love the ones that are supporting you. Love the ones that don't support you. And I appreciate your time. And please, again, call to action. Check in. There's some links below for a bunch of other books as well. I really appreciate your time.